The craziest things people gave to Goodwill. Welcome to Goodwill, how can I help you? Hi, yes, I want to donate this box of stuff, please. Of course, yeah, we can just, we'll get this all sorted away for you, and then... Damn, she's quick. Well, later that day, they were going through the box of stuff she donated. It was mostly normal stuff, but there was one thing in it that was super weird. Yo, what the heck? Steven, come here. Hey, yo, what's up, Sync? Look at this. Yo, dude, this is someone's ashes. It was somebody's ashes. A cremated person. And on the box, it said Gregory. I think that lady gave her dead husband to us. When something like this happens, they call corporate, and they're supposed to send someone to take care of it. Well, no one came, and days passed. They ended up putting Gregory on a shelf in the office. Gregory has become a part of the work family. Whenever there's a new employee, the first thing they do is introduce them to Greg. Whenever something strange happens in the store, they blame it on Greg. They all truly love Greg. There was a kid at school that sold pencils. Now, yes, it was a simple business, but he had one of these fancy, expensive pencil sharpeners at his house, and they sharpened pencils perfectly. Like the wood around the lead was even. The point was as sharp as a pin. It's perfect. So every night he'd be in his garage watching his TV, sharpening these pencils, and then he would bring them to school the next day. He had this very carefully picked out pencil case that would protect the tips of all these pencils. The next morning he would open it in class and show his classmates. I mean, I already have a pencil, but those look amazing. Something about how perfectly sharpened they were captured people's eyes every single time. He sold them for 50 cents each. And when he would hand these pencils over to the customers, they would hold on to it and look at it like they just bought something very expensive, very rare. Well, word spread, business began to boom, and people all around the school wanted his pencils, which is crazy to me because they could have just sharpened their own. There was something about his. Some kids even bought them and refused to write with them because they didn't want to ruin how good they were. What? In total, he made around $400. He ran this for like a year, and then he stopped because he bought the pair of shoes he wanted. And what do I always say? Write it in the comments before I can say it. You gotta respect the hustle. The dumbest school rules ever. We have another one. This middle school wouldn't let their students talk at all during lunch. Apparently, this is a very common rule. But at one middle school, there was a group of friends that wanted to beat the system. So over the course of a few months, they all individually learned sign language. They became fluent, and they started talking to each other during lunch with sign language only. Oh my god, what are they doing? Dear God. Did they all learn sign language? Can they do that? Are they allowed to do that? I'll get the principal. And they couldn't do anything about it because sign language technically isn't talking. Have you ever wondered how a middle school science lesson could save an entire building from exploding? This 8th grader named John was sitting in chemistry class learning about natural gas. His teacher explained that rotten egg smell isn't actually natural. They add a chemical called mercaptan so people can detect leaks. Your nose can literally smell it at 1 part per billion. Regardless, John thought this was cool. Hey, that's cool. Well, the very next day, during a science lab in a different science class, he noticed a very faint smell of rotten eggs. He raised his hand and said, "Mr. Stevens, I think there might be a gas leak." Well, the teacher brushed it off and said, "John, that's probably from a different experiment or you're making things up." "No, I'm serious. It smells exactly like what Mr. Zern taught us yesterday." But the teacher told him just to sit down and stop disrupting class, please. So John did something bold. He walked straight to the office and he told the principal, "There's a gas leak in the lab. I'm pretty positive." The principal took him very seriously, and he pulled the fire alarm himself and evacuated the entire school. Turns out there was a massive gas leak in the science building. The fire department said that if anybody lit a burner, which they were going to, the whole science wing could have exploded. John literally saved the school because he remembered a lesson from the day before. And yeah, that teacher definitely apologized to him. Big time. That's insane. Oh my god, my farms! This was back in the Facebook game era. This kid's mom was completely addicted to Farmville. She'd wake up in the morning, pour herself a cup of coffee, and immediately it was farming time. Harvest, 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 plant. My farm is looking great. This mom was also kind of a helicopter parent, so she would monitor her kids' activity online as well, which meant she had her kids' Facebook passwords. But more than monitoring their activity, she was also playing Farmville on their account. months. Basically a whole digital farming empire. All of my farms are doing amazing. She took it way too seriously. I'm not sure if any of you remember this or your parents, but Farmville meant business back in the day. One day, the kids get grounded for some bogus reason, and the son, he's mad. I'm mad! He wants payback, so he's sitting in his room and he's thinking to himself, what does she love the most? Her farms. So one night, he logs into his Facebook, and he intentionally sabotages everything in his farm. Then he goes on the family computer. His mom's already logged in. He goes to her precious farm and completely sabotages everything there as well. Selling, deleting, harvesting too early. The next morning, he hears it. He's still in his bed. From downstairs, he hears the yelling. What happened to my farm? What happened to all my farms? Panic and fast-clicking mouse noises filled the air. She spends the whole day absolutely furious, talking about hackers, emailing Facebook. She never put two and two together that her son probably did this, but he knew, and it made him so happy. That's what you get, Mom.
On Friday, Mrs. Gable tried to sound profound. She told the whole class that even when today ends for us, it's still today somewhere else on Earth. She was standing, looking out the windows, trying to sound inspiring. Class, remember, the sun never truly sets on today. Even when we go to sleep in Ohio, it's still very much today in the Pacific. It's a bit of perspective for you, students. Well, fast forward to Monday morning, 8 a.m. Johnny had missed the Sunday night deadline for a very important history essay. Instead of turning it in on Sunday night, he emailed it to Mrs. Gable at 6:30 in the morning on Monday. He got to school and he hoped for the best. Johnny, I got your email. You sent it this morning at 6:30 a.m. Monday. Sunday's over. That's a 0 for lateness, and you know my rule. There are no excuses. Then Johnny cooked. Actually, Mrs. Gable, you told us on Friday that even when today ends here, it's still today somewhere else. And at 6:30 in the morning, it was still 11:30 p.m. in Samoa. So based on your lesson from Friday, it was still turned in on Sunday. You could literally hear the gears grinding in her head. The whole class was staring at her like she had just been checkmated. She didn't find that time fact cool anymore. She sent Johnny to the office for disrupting the lesson plan. Johnny, Mrs. Gable's crashing out right now. Look, you're a menace. You're technically right. I could tell you, hey, doesn't matter, your paper was late, you get a 0. But I think you're smart. So, I'm gonna make her give you a B- if the essay's good, but you gotta promise to stop using the Pacific Islands time zone to bypass getting your homework done on time, okay? I promise, Principal Milkman, and you got a B-. Oh, kid's a genius.
Here's what happens when you're a frickin' Karen. This lady's about to board a flight. She storms up to the counter and is waving her phone in the agent's face. Hi, yeah, I paid for priority, and that better mean something good. Well, the desk agent said, ma'am, yes, this is Economy Plus, so you'll be boarding in Group 2. Just a few minutes, okay? Now, boarding hadn't even begun yet, but this lady loses it. I'm pretty sure I paid for a better plane ticket. You know what? I have so many followers. I'm gonna ruin you for this. This airline sucks. That's fine. Okay. I don't care. Just step back. Now, here's the thing. She threatens that she's gonna make a terrible video about the airline to ruin their reputation or to get this person fired, but no one cared. The thing is, that desk agent was actually gonna upgrade somebody to first class because there was one first class seat open. But now, it definitely wasn't gonna be her. Oh, sir. Oh, yeah. What boarding group are you? Now, he's saying this loud enough for the lady to hear. Group 6. Well, it's your lucky day. I'm upgrading you to first class. And ma'am, I'm downgrading you to Group 6. Now, this entire time, a bunch of other passengers were watching this thing go down. They were invested, and they cheered. Stop clapping! Screw you! And she threw a fit, and she was thrown out of the airport. Good. When he was 10, his grandpa asked him, "What do you want for your birthday?" And he says, "A brick." A brick? Why? Because my parents still have this super old TV. If I throw a brick at the TV, we'll have to get a new one. Oh, I'm just kidding. Maybe just some Pokemon cards or something. The grandpa just smiles and nods. A couple months later, this kid's birthday comes around, and there's a beautifully wrapped present on the table. Heavy, perfect corners. The kid opens it. Inside was a single brick. The grandpa's losing it. You're crazy. I can't believe you remembered. And the grandpa leans in and says real quiet to him, "Wait till your mom's in the kitchen and then we'll waste the TV." So the kid's mom goes into the kitchen to grab the cake. The kid takes the brick, smashes it in the TV. TV is destroyed. What happened?
happened here? Now we gotta get a new TV. Yes. The grandpa took the blame for throwing the brick at the TV. I don't know why I did that. Then the kid says, it's okay, Mom. Please don't be mad at Grandpa. I'll help you pick out the new TV. Okay, fine. You're right. It's okay, Pops. You'll be okay. Just sit down and relax. I'll clean this up. The mom then leaves to grab the broom. Nice work, kid. I love you, Grandpa. What a nice story. Her mom's boyfriend was nice at first. Helpful, friendly. Hey, Kayla, I brought you home some McDonald's. Thanks, Mark. He treated her great. Then he married her mom. And almost overnight, he stopped talking to her completely. Hey, Mark, how's your day? He would walk past her like she wasn't even there. Then her little brother was born. And that's when it got worse. She said he basically decided that she didn't belong in the house anymore. First, he stopped cooking for her. He told the 14-year-old, if you want food, buy your own. But she also wasn't allowed to get a job. Then he would take her laundry out of the washer mid-cycle to put his own in. And he would throw her wet clothes just on the floor. Why'd you do this? He would always scream that it was because, this is my machine. I bought it. And then, as a punishment, she would make her do everyone else's laundry and fold it all. He banned her friends from coming over, never let her take the classes she wanted at the park district, and then he did one thing that she said that she would never forget. She went away to school camp for 2 weeks. She came back excited to get home. She walked into her room, looked at her bookshelf. All my books are gone. Every single one. Turns out, while she was away, he had been using her book collection to start fires in the fireplace. One by one, burning them for kindling. And that is another example of a horrible, horrible person. You're trying to ruin my life. Ow. Jake genuinely believed his cat was ruining his life on purpose. Her name was Mildred, and he thought his cat had one mission: to destroy his social life. Because Mildred would pee on everything. His laundry, his backpack. One time, she went into his closet and tore up a bunch of his clothes. Everything is ripped. And the worst part was she wasn't even sick. He thought maybe she's acting out because there's something wrong with her, so he took her to the vet, but the vet's like, she seems incredibly healthy. Meanwhile, Jake's showing up to school smelling like cat urine. Dude, what does that smell? Oh, that's just Jake. What the heck? Jake knew it was Mildred's fault. Then it started escalating. She was pooping in his shoes, sleeping on folded clothes right after they were washed, so everything he wore was covered in hair. For years, Jake thought, this animal hates me. Fast forward 15 years, Jake is grown now. He's got long hair and he's living in an apartment by himself, and he still has that cat Mildred. One day, he's sitting on the couch watching TV. He looks down and there's Mildred. She's very old now, and she's huge, curled up in a ball right next to him. She's obsessed with being near him in every second, and one day it clicks. She just wanted me all to herself. Now, maybe that's true, maybe it's not, but all he knows is that 15 years later, he loves that cat more than anything. She loves him. It's kind of sad and beautiful. Whatever you do, be cool. Dominic spent the entire summer preparing for middle school. He studied the map and he memorized hallways. He wanted to know where he was going because his one goal was he didn't want to look like a lost 6th grader on the first day. So the morning comes, he's got his backpack on and he's nervous. I'm nervous, but I'm ready. First class of the day is Spanish, and the Spanish class is all the way down in the 8th grade hallway, which already feels terrifying. So he's walking through and there's older kids everywhere. And when you're in 6th grade, the 8th graders seem huge. He's walking down the hallway. He's feeling good. He's acting cool. And then he sees a group of older girls, and his confidence kind of takes over. These girls have perfect hair. They're laughing. They're leaning on their lockers. So I told them, get lost. That's an insane thing to say. Did he cry? He decides to try to play it cool. He says hi to the girls, smiles at them, and winks. Ladies? But because he was focused entirely on trying to impress these girls, he didn't see what was right in front of him. A janitor, the janitor's cart, and the janitor mopping up someone's vomit. He runs into the janitor, he slips on the vomit, and he falls into the big trash can that's on the janitor's cart. Oh, loser! He climbs out of that trash can as fast as he can and he runs to that Spanish class. And all that effort trying to look cool, not seem weird, failed. Because for the rest of the year, he was known as Puke Boy. That's unfortunate. The nastiest things people have done. The person who shared the story used to work at Walmart, and one day she was working the customer service desk when a woman came up. Excuse me, I want to return a pair of shoes. The soles are kind of messed up. Yeah, can I see them please? Yeah, sure. She then took the shoes right off of her feet and put them on the counter, and the Walmart employees said they smelled terrible.
Okay, let me just look these up in my system, please. The funny part is, Walmart didn't sell those shoes anymore. In fact, we haven't sold these in 5 years. So yeah, I can't return them for you. The woman did not understand why she couldn't return her nasty old shoes, and she was escorted out of the Walmart after screaming at the manager. I hate braces. Mikey got braces right before freshman year, and he really didn't want anybody to notice. So the whole summer, this dude's in the mirror practicing, smiling with his lips closed, talking differently. Hi, my name's Mikey, how are you? Laughing without showing teeth. Fully rehearsing these facial expressions. First day of school, he thinks he's got it under control. Then English class happens. Also, Mikey's mouth was messed up. He had those rubber bands in different places. Well, the teacher asks a question, calls on Mikey. So Mikey, what do you think they did with all the cows? Then Mikey responds something that made himself laugh. They made milk. He smiles big, his braces are showing, but one of those rubber bands that he has connected to his braces comes loose and just straight to the front of the room. Right into the teacher's eye. What was that? Oh no! It came out of Mikey's mouth. It was so unfortunate. Mikey was in the front row. Truly a freak accident, but Mikey was bullied for like a month. Poor guy. No chewing gum in my class. Ah, rats. Marcus gets caught chewing gum by one of the super strict teachers. Marcus, spit it out. Now, most people would just take their gum and walk it to the trash can, but not Marcus. He's too cool for that. So he takes the gum out, he stands up slowly, he looks at the garbage can across the room. Watch this. Whole class locks in, trying to see if he's gonna make the shot. He launches it. Perfect arc. It's going. The very last second, the gum curves and gets stuck in the quiet kid's hair. Everybody's horrified. They're waiting for this quiet kid to freak out. But the kid never talks and he barely even reacts to this. He slowly reaches up. He touches the gum. It's not coming out easy. It's stuck in there pretty good. Then he calmly opens his backpack and pulls out a pair of scissors. And without saying a single word, he just cuts that chunk of gum right out of his hair. He sets the gum on his desk, puts the scissors back in his backpack, zips it up, and then he puts the hairy wad of gum in his mouth and starts chewing it. Goes right back to taking notes. The strict teacher's like, you know what? He can chew it. I'm not dealing with that. Yeah, that kid's pretty weird. This fourth grader could pull his tooth out. Like fully out. Nobody knew why. Then he would put it back in and it would fit perfectly, like a Lego piece. The first time he did it, people were like, yo, what was that? That was crazy. Do it again. By the next day, everybody had heard about this kid's tooth thing, and they were lining up. Yo, do the tooth thing. Please let me see it. And he did it every so often, but people kept asking him this for months, and it got old. So he started charging. Okay, I'll do it for a quarter. Fine, here. Well, now it's a business. But here's the rule. Only one person per quarter. If 4 kids want to see it at the same time, it's $1. And if you give him a quarter, he does it, but you missed it, that's that. You pay, you watch him do this tooth thing, you move on. By the end of the month, he's got bags and bags of quarters. People are actually paying this guy. Teachers try to shut it down eventually, but by that point, the tooth wouldn't fit in anymore. He made his money, and nobody ever knew how he was doing that with his tooth. Hey, you gotta respect the hustle. Here's what happens when you sell snacks to a rich kid. This guy's running a locker snack business to save up for a computer. Well, one kid ordered a bag of hot Cheetos and a Gatorade. Easy transaction. So he brings it to this kid's locker, and the kid looks at the Cheetos all weird. Yo, man, this bag is way too wrinkled. Okay, I'll go grab a fresh one for you. So he runs back to his locker and grabs a fresh bag. He comes back, and now this kid's saying the Gatorade's wrong. Also, dude, this is the wrong flavor Gatorade. You said blue Gatorade. I did not say blue Gatorade. He said blue Gatorade. Well, while he's standing there, you know what? It's fine. I'll take it. Okay. Well, the kid's standing there waiting to get paid when the rich guy starts showing his friends pictures of the yacht his parents just bought. Hey, Kevin, Deacon, check this out, man. That's a big boat. It's my parents. Hey, can I get the money? Jeez. Impatient, or are we? Fine, here. He takes the money, he goes. The next day, the rich kid stops him in the hallway. Hey, yo, dude, those Cheetos were stale yesterday. I want a full refund. The Cheetos weren't stale, they were brand new. But he didn't know what to say, so he just refunded the guy. He says it doesn't matter. He's sure karma will catch up to this kid one day.
Here's what happens when you punish everybody for one kid's mistake. This teacher caught one student throwing a paper airplane in class, but she gave the entire class detention. Detention for all of you! Every single person, even the kids that were just sitting there quietly doing their work. Well, the entire class was super mad, so they realized if they're gonna get punished anyway, they might as well do something to actually deserve it. So the next day, 10 more kids are launching paper airplanes in this class, mid-lecture, and the teacher doubled down. Banned everybody from the upcoming field trip that they've been waiting for months. That's it, field trip is canceled. Now, yeah, that did suck for them. So now at this point, the entire class had nothing to lose. So by week 3, it was basically a rebellion. Every student would take their turn disrupting class, coughing loudly, pushing books off the desk, paper airplanes, humming, spitballs. Teacher kept getting angrier and angrier. I'm gonna fail each and every one of you! The good kids who had perfect records just stopped caring because they're like, this thing started off so unfair. The breaking point came when the principal walked in during a surprise observation one day and found absolute chaos. 27 students standing on their desks chanting, "We hate Mrs. Johnson, we hate Mrs. Johnson," over and over again while the teacher is, "Enough, sit down, I'm gonna call your parents, I'm gonna call your parents." Half the class was facing potential suspension at this point. The principal immediately removed the teacher from the classroom. They did some digging, parents demanded meetings with the school board, and at the end of all of this, that teacher was let go. Well, she retired. Because it turns out if you erase the difference between innocent and guilty, everybody just picks guilty, because at least that way you're having fun. That's nuts.
Whatever you do, don't feed this to your dog. It's always a good idea to do some research before feeding something to your dog, but sometimes even the most common food items could be deadly. In this case, onions. Onions are toxic to dogs. They can cause hemolytic anemia and result in death. For example, one 45-pound dog would only have to eat one large onion for it to experience severely dangerous toxicity levels. So moral of the story is leave the onions to Shrek and just toss your dog a bone. He thought this is how babies were made. This guy shared a story of how in junior year of high school, his friend had no idea how babies were made. This is what he thought would happen. He actually believed that when you got married and you and your wife were ready to have a baby, you would take your wife to a hospital, they would put you in a room, and you would pee on your wife. And then bingo, your wife was pregnant. His friend was like, no dude, that's actually super messed up. He then educated his friend on how exactly babies are conceived. Needless to say, his friend was incredibly embarrassed. The worst Christmas gifts ever. When this girl was 15 years old, she really wanted a dog. And her parents knew it because she was always asking them if they could get one. Well, one Christmas morning, after most of the presents were unwrapped, her parents went downstairs to grab one last gift for her. Oh my gosh, I wonder what this is. Her parents then came upstairs carrying a giant box with holes in it. Almost as if there was a living creature inside. Okay, are you ready? Oh my god, I think I know what this is. Convinced there was a live puppy inside this Swiss cheese looking box, she unwrapped it, super excited to meet her new pet. But as she opened the box, she saw a stuffed animal dog that when you squeezed its paw, it barked. What is this? You said you wanted a dog. Why would you put holes in the box? I hate you. The dumbest school rules ever. This one high school had the dumbest school rule ever where students had to ask before taking a sip of anything. At lunchtime, kids were fine, but if you were in class and you wanted to have a sip of water, you had to ask the teacher, "May I have a sip of my water, please?" Okay, thank you. Well, one kid that attended this high school told this story. It was getting close to summer, and he was sitting in class. The AC wasn't working very well at all, and he was thirsty. "Steven, did you ask me?" "Huh? Oh my god, no, I forgot, but I'm so sorry. It's just so hot in here, miss, and I'm like dehydrated." "I don't care, you didn't ask me." "I know, I'm sorry. Give me your water bottle and head to the principal's office right now." "Okay, here." What the frick? He went to the principal's office and the principal gave him a detention. Some parents heard about the situation and they got super mad. The school changed the rule shortly after. Interesting facts that'll blow your top off. In 1859, Thomas Austin ordered 24 English rabbits to be sent to his home in Australia. There really weren't any rabbits in Australia before this, but he wanted to release these rabbits onto his property so he could hunt them. Well, this was a horrible idea. Because of this, by the 1920s, Australia's rabbit population surpassed 10 billion. In 1923, a jockey named Frank Hayes was racing on his horse. Well, mid-race, he suffered a heart attack and died, but he somehow remained on top of his horse. His horse then crossed the finish line in first place. Crazy part is, before that day, Frank had never won a race in his entire life. Astronauts who have stayed in space for long periods of time have said that when they come home for months after, they still drop objects mid-air, expecting them to float. Obviously, they don't. My favorite comebacks. Let's dive right in. You're an idiot, Kyle. Chad, what's your deal, man? I don't have a deal, bro. It's just that whenever I look at your face, I get so pissed. Such a loser. You know what, Chad? I would say that you're dumb as a rock, but at least a rock can hold a door open.
Thanks, Carlos. You're the man, Carlos. Thanks, bro.
Craziest things people did in college. When this guy was in college, one day, for some reason, he bought 35 heads of lettuce, and he began hiding them all around campus. Except there was one head of lettuce that was different from the rest. He hollowed this head of lettuce out and put a pickle inside of it, really snug, and he posted flyers all around campus. The flyers said, "Have you seen me?" And there was a picture of a head of lettuce on it. And below that picture it said, "If you find the lettuce that holds the pickle, I will give you $500. And he had his phone number on there. Well, students began going crazy. Everyone was hunting down these heads of lettuce, finding them all over campus. One of the school deans apparently found a head of lettuce in his desk drawer.
Damn.
The lettuce that held the pickle was actually found by a student that had just gotten robbed a couple weeks prior. He called the number on the flyer, brought him the pickle lettuce, and was paid his $500. Weirdest household rules ever. When this kid was like 8 years old, he was hanging out at his friend's house, and they were playing video games in his friend's room upstairs. Well, this kid had to pee very bad, so he went to the bathroom on the second floor of the house, and he started peeing. Well, somehow his friend's mom knew he was peeing in that upstairs bathroom, and she rushed up there and started banging on the door. "Excuse me, what are you doing in here? Kyle? You better not be peeing." She said he couldn't pee in that bathroom because this bathroom is for nighttime peeing only, and it's daytime right now. You can't be peeing in here. So she made this kid stop peeing midstream, and she sent him to the downstairs bathroom to finish. When he finished and left the downstairs bathroom, she was standing there waiting for him. "I bet you learned your lesson, huh?" "Yeah, I called your mom. She's on her way to get you right now. You are never allowed here ever again." Never again. How to deal with a bully. Let's dive right in. Kyle. Steven, what's up, man? "I bet you $50 I'm stronger than you." Yeah, I doubt that. No, I'm serious, bro. I've gotten into so many fights before, and you're such a loser, I would beat your ass. I don't know what your problem is, but I'm guessing it's very hard to pronounce. Good one, idiot. No, for real, I've been in like 17 fights, and I've won every single one of them. So, yeah, I'll beat your butt. Ha, yeah, I may like to shop, but I will never buy your bull. How dare you talk about Clarence like that? I'm just trying to find him a good home. Clarence is a... There was a school in Florida that tried to monetize the bathroom. It's so messed up. They gave every student 3 restroom credits a month. And if you ran out, each additional restroom credit was $5 each. This is insane. The principal called it time management training, which didn't make any sense. It's more like a human rights violation. Well, that's when a student named Marcus, what's up, realized that the school just created the most valuable currency on campus. "Okay, I got 2 credits left. I'll trade them for your pre-calc answers and your lunch." "Okay, cool, yeah, deal." Marcus became this bladder broker of sorts. "Hey bro, you never pee, right?" "No, just once before school and once at night." "I'll buy your credits off you." He would either trade these credits or sell them to students who were having an emergency for a massive markup. Now the crazy part is, he began trading, buying, and selling these credits very obviously in front of teachers in the hallway, because his plan was to get caught. So when the principal did catch on, "Marcus, I know what you're doing." "Oh, you do you? You cannot be trading, buying, or selling these bathroom credits." "Well, what are you gonna do about it, huh?" "Oh, well, you're gonna get in big trouble." "No, you're not, because listen up. You got a few options here. You can punish me, but then I'll go to the school board, tell them that you're charging students $5 to use the bathroom. Or you can let me continue and do nothing about it. Or your last and honestly best option, get rid of the credit system. It's a human rights violation, you frickin' idiot. Out of my office now. By the next morning, the bathroom credit system was
gone. And honestly, it was all thanks to Marcus. This kid had a fish allergy, and he always told his mom, "Mom, I can't eat fish, I'm allergic." And he's not like die allergic, but if he has fish, he'll get sick. Headaches, vomiting, but his mom refuses to believe him. "No, you're not. Eat the fish." She would force him to eat the fish, saying that he's not allergic, and then when he does eat it and gets sick, she gets annoyed. "Oh my God, you're dramatic. Clean up after yourself." Well, one night, the mom's hosting a big dinner party. This kid is 9 years old. Everybody's eating. His mom hands him a fish fillet in front of all the guests. "Here you go, sweetie. Eat this. Let me know how it is." "Mom, I told you I can't eat fish." "That's not true. That's not true, everybody. Eat the fish." That's when the kid realized, okay, I'm gonna eat the fish. He eats the fish. Everybody's watching. 10 minutes later, he walks back into the kitchen. "Oh, did you like the fish? You want more, I bet, huh?" "No, Mom, I..." Pukes all over the mom and the table. The guests are shocked. "Oh my God, clean up an aisle fish." "Milk." Now you can see it in the mom's face. She wants to explode. Kid's like, "Do it, Mom. Everyone will see who you really are." But the mom can't. Not in front of all her guests. So she flips. "Oh, my poor baby, I think you are allergic to fish. Let me go put you to bed." She then takes him upstairs and tucks him in and joins the party again. And from that day on, she never made him eat fish ever again. Hey, kid's a genius.
Sleep over at his friend's house. They're chilling in his friend's bedroom.
Come here.
Oh, man, you win again. Well, this kid turns his head for a second, and he sees his friend's grandma standing in the doorway just staring at him. At first, he's like, okay, this guy's grandma's pretty weird, but I'm not gonna say anything. A little while later, this kid goes down to the kitchen to grab a drink. He gets in, opens the fridge, he feels that weird feeling that someone's watching him, then he closes the fridge, and the grandma's right there. It's like she appeared out of nowhere. He heads back upstairs to hang out with his friend, and they close the door this time. His friend says, "Hey, yo, my dad's gonna run me to the store really quick to buy something for school tomorrow. You good here?" "Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm tired. I'm probably just gonna, take a nap here. Close my eyes." "All right, I'll be back in a second." Kid closes his eyes, and he's just dozing off for a little bit. That's when he feels the mattress shift. He opens his eyes. Oh. The grandma's sitting on the edge of the bed with her fingers crossed, looking at him politely. "Hello, I'm Grandma." "I am Grandma." "Hi, Grandma. Hi. I'm gonna get a cookie. You want one?" Sure." "Okay. Shh. Don't tell the family." And she goes away. She never comes back with the cookie, but his friend returns. "What's up, bro?" "Yo, bro, what's up with your grandma, man? She's like stalking me." "Oh, she just does that, man. She likes to know where everybody is at all times. I think she was watching me sleep." "Oh, well, you're lucky." "How am I lucky?" After that night, he never sleeps over there ever again.
She's 20 years old, still living at home. She's in college. That's me. She's got 5 younger siblings. Almost every single day, she is the one cooking, cleaning, and driving the kids around. In this house, that's just how it works. Well, one night she gets home late. Her class gets done at 7:30. Normally she's home by 8, but on this day she stayed to talk to the professor a bit. No big deal, right? But she came home late. Walks in the house around 9:15. "I cannot believe you." Her mom is super mad. The sink's full of dishes. There's no dinner. One of the kids had to be picked up from practice by somebody else. The mom says, "You are absolutely useless." Excuse me? Her feelings were obviously hurt because she is definitely not useless. She does so much for her family every single day. Well, after her mom said that, she didn't fight. She just went right to bed. The next morning, she doesn't wake anybody up like she usually does. She doesn't drive anybody to school. And she doesn't make dinner that night. And then she does it again and again and again. And the house starts failing. Dishes are piling up, laundry doesn't get done, kids are missing school. Now everybody's angry at her. "This is your fault. This is your fault. Useless. Milk." She realized all these things she was doing were expected of her, and when she stopped doing it, nobody stepped up to take over. They blame her, and shortly after that, she moved out, and her family hasn't talked to her since. That's messed up. In elementary school, this guy had one friend. I have one friend. It's me. But the thing is, this kid got bullied a lot. So whenever his friend hung out with him at school, his friend would also get bullied. "Dude, whenever I hang out with you, your bully also bullies me." "I know, I'm sorry." So they made a rule. They wouldn't hang out at school. They wouldn't hang out at recess. They weren't friends in class. They only hung out after school where nobody could see them. That's messed up. So at school, this kid was pretty much alone. Well, one day during recess, a popular kid asked him if he wanted to kick a ball around. "Hey bro, you want to play kickball with me?" Sure. This was completely out of nowhere. He was shocked. This never happened to him. Well, they started actually having fun. That's when the popular kid said this. Dude, this is fun, man. You're not as bad as your friend says you are. What? Turns out that kid's friend was bullying him behind his back, starting bad rumors about how bad of a guy he was, being a complete two-faced jerk. He stopped talking to his friend altogether, even after school. And he actually became pretty good friends with the popular guy. Hey, what's up, Carl? Bro, leave us alone, man. We're having a conversation. Yeah, jerk. What a horrible friend. This guy went to a friend's house for dinner. Everything was chill until the milk came out. It was a really big family. They were at the table. It was loud. Every single person there gets a glass of milk. And milk for you, 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 milk for me. Bruh. Well, then it starts getting weird. The dad reaches over and grabs his son's milk. Hey, son, let me see your cup. I'm done with mine. And he pours his leftover milk into his son's cup. Then the mom decides she's done with her milk, so she pours her milk into her daughter's cup. And this just keeps going. When everyone decides they're done drinking milk, they pour it into somebody else's cup. So like milky backwash just rotating through everybody. Now the guest, he's just like, what is going on here? If someone finishes their milk and they want more, I want some more milk, Mom. Oh, that's perfect. I'm done with mine. I'll give you it. She just pours it into his cup. At this house, milk does not get wasted. It does not get poured down the sink. It gets recycled. And if everybody at the table is done with their milk, but there's still milk in the cups, they pour that milk back in the carton. And my friends, that is absolutely disgusting. I'm gonna ruin your life. Why? There was this girl who was just super awful, always being mean to somebody, always starting rumors, and this one girl got it the worst. They were on the basketball team together and the softball team together, and this mean girl was always making stuff up about her. Kayla said she hates your coaching style. What? Kayla said she thinks you're the worst player on the team. She's the worst! And people were confronting her. The coaches punished her for this, and people on her team hated her. I didn't say any of those things! But nobody really believed her, and she knew who was behind this. Krista. Then sophomore year starts. Kayla has geometry class with Krista, and Krista starts becoming super friendly. Hey, what's up, Kayla? How you doing today? Fine. She sits next to her every day, laughing at all her jokes. You're hilarious. And then one day before class, Krista says, hey, can I please see your homework from last night? I didn't do mine. I'm gonna send a copy of your answers down really quick. And that's when it clicks. Krista's failing geometry, and she wants the answers. She wants to pass. So for a few weeks, Kayla lets her copy off her. Yeah, sure, that's totally fine. Then one day, Kayla realizes she's done. They had a really big important take-home exam that Krista didn't do, but Kayla knew she was gonna ask for the answers, so she had 2 copies. The other one, she wrote everything down wrong on purpose. And when Krista asked for the answers, she let her copy the wrong one. What? Kayla? We failed! No, you failed. I got an A. Now that's karma. These two 12-year-olds started a lemonade stand one summer. And at first it was basic. Like they had the table, the sign, they were making lemonade, and people were buying it. They spent days perfecting the recipe. They were treating it like a chemistry project. But the thing is, the lemonade was incredible. Kids, this lemonade is incredible. People on their street loved it, but business began to slow down a lot. Then one of them goes, why are we selling this stuff to a cul-de-sac of 20 people when there's a whole downtown area? Good idea. Let's move shop. So one Saturday morning, they moved the entire operation downtown, middle of town square. And now they're selling BLT sandwiches. And business was absolutely booming. They're making so much money. Word spreads fast. There's lines. They're selling out. At one point, a nearby cafe owner goes, you're putting us out of business, guys! And the kids take that as a compliment. Okay. But then the city gets involved. Because apparently, once you start having this sort of business in a public downtown area, you need a license. Health inspectors show up. These 2 kids are just standing there like, we're 12. Inspector's like, doesn't matter. And the city shuts the stand down immediately for not having permits or licenses. But the kids made so much money that they got over it pretty quick. The weirdest teachers of all time. At one high school, there was a science teacher who was a bit older. He was a pretty nice guy, but he sweat all the time. All right, and that is evolution. Is it hot in here or is it just me? I'm sweating up a storm. Well, he would do this super weird, gross thing every single day. He had this plant on his desk, and towards the end of class, every single day, he would take off his shirt in front of everybody and wring out his sweaty shirt into the plant. Sir, what are you doing? Plants need water, Kyle. What do you think I'm doing? He was eventually fired because taking your shirt off in class is frowned upon. Makes sense.
Nobody liked this teacher. She was constantly promising things and never following through. Usually about animals. Class tomorrow, I'm having a zookeeper bring in an aardvark. The class would cheer, but it would never happen. Class tomorrow, I'm having the zookeeper bring in a boa constrictor. Class would cheer. Guess what? Never would happen. She would also lie about field trips, movie days. She was the worst. Every few weeks, she would get everyone excited about stuff and then just not follow through. By the end of the year, the class was completely over it. They find out she's retiring. It's the last week of school, and some kid comes up with an idea. You see, my mom works at a candy store, and he said that candy store sold these colorful candies that looked just like rocks. His mom made them. But here's what they did. The mom was willing to help get back at this teacher. But instead of the colorful candy chocolate, she dipped actual rocks in the candy coating. So they looked exactly the same as the real ones, except instead of chocolate, there was rocks. The class puts together this giant box, everything, and they put it on her desk. Here, teach! Have them, enjoy! And because she's the way she is, of course, she's honored. Oh wow, is it because I'm such a great teacher? You know what, I'm not gonna share these, but I will have one right now. And they're watching her. She's going to put this candy in her mouth. She does. Then she bites down. Immediately, tooth cracked. The teacher spits it into her hand and looks at it. It's a rock, and she's ticked off. They eventually find out who did it, and he was expelled. But obviously his mom wasn't mad because she's the one that helped him. But hey, that teacher sounded horrible. She deserved it. There was a weird kid at school that everybody avoided. He was really quiet. Well, one day, he brings a cake into class and sets it on the teacher's desk. What is this? I made it. Oh, okay. Whose birthday is it? Nobody's. I just made it. Oh, nice. Well, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna bring it to the teacher's lounge, okay? Huh? Comes back. Class moves on. The cake is now sitting in the teacher's lounge. Everybody's kind of skeptical. They're like, I'm not eating that cake. Well, 3 teachers decide, hey, why not? I like cake. So they start eating it. Within an hour and a half, those teachers start leaving their classrooms. Their stomachs are going crazy. Oh no, Subs have to come in, the office is kind of scrambling. The teachers spend the next few hours in the bathroom, then somebody connects the dots. It's the cake. They keep it. They have somebody test it. The next day they find out the cake was filled with laxatives. The kid gets pulled out of class. Yo, come with me. Oh, okay. And then he's gone, and he never shows up to school ever again. Why in the world would he do that? Crazy things people did as kids. When this guy was in elementary school, he was hanging out at his grandparents' house with a friend from school. His grandparents had a ton of horses that roamed around the property, and there was an apple tree right by where the horses liked to hang out. Well, this day, him and his friend climbed to the top of the apple tree and started throwing apples on the ground, trying to get the horses to come up and eat the apples. Well, one horse did. Oh my god, look, the horse came. He came. I'm gonna jump on his back. Do it. Well, that startled the horse, and the horse took off running. Steven? The horse hopped over the fence and ran deep into the woods until they could no longer be seen anymore. He told his grandparents what had happened, and they didn't find the horse or this kid's friend for 5 hours. She made her students come in on Saturdays. This 10th grade teacher, Mrs. Hayes, spent 6 months trying to make it mandatory for students to come in on Saturdays. But the principal, it's a weekend, Hayes, you can't force kids to come in. Mrs. Hayes didn't argue much. She just smiled and went on her way. But she spent the next 3 weeks building a secret final exam. Friday afternoon, 3 p.m., the entire class gets an email. Saturday session, not required, but encouraged. About a quarter of the students showed up. The rest of the class didn't because, well, it was a Saturday. Good morning, scholars. I'm about to share with you something exclusive. She then taught what was going to be on next week's exam, but then she passed out a packet, a cipher code, a code that would directly relate to how the students filled out the test. And if you didn't have this code, you would fail the test. Well, Monday comes around and she passes out this 50-page packet, and it looks like it was written in Egyptian. Miss, I can't read this. The translation guide was provided during our Saturday session. You have 45 minutes to complete the exam. Absolutely insane. She gave students a key code on that Saturday to a test that she wrote in her own made-up language to trick the other students. That's nuts. The parents rioted, the principal got involved, but somehow she didn't get in trouble at all. Mrs. Hayes, hey listen, the Saturday session was optional, but I could still make the test whenever I want, right? And I guess she was right.
That's crazy.
A substitute teacher walks into class. She's taking attendance, butchering every single name. She gets through everything, but then someone's like, miss, you forgot about Denise. Oh, Denise, yeah, she's here. Right there. And the kid points to an empty desk. The substitute's like, I don't see anybody there. But then another student's like, she's just very quiet. But yeah, she's here, see? Okay. The sub then manually put in Denise's name on the sheet and wrote next to it, here. 10 minutes later, the substitute's handing out papers. Someone says, hey miss, don't forget to give Denise one. And the sub does. Oh, you're right. My bad. Here you go, Denise. Miss, she also needs a pencil. Oh, okay, here, Denise. So now, obviously, no one is sitting at that desk, but this teacher is going along with it? Or maybe she's actually believing that someone is there, but she just can't see them? By the end of class, she's talking to this empty desk like it's a real person. Okay, does everyone understand today's lesson? Denise, how about you? Yeah, she gets it, miss. And on the sub sheet to turn into the teacher, the substitute wrote, Denise was quiet today, but she completed all her work. Overall, class was great. The next day, the real teacher comes back and reads the notes. Class, who the heck is Denise? And everyone burst out laughing. I bet they had that sub thinking she was going crazy. They respected Denise though, huh? No high fives allowed.
Huh?
Why? Because it's assault. That was the actual rule. And no, that doesn't make sense. People couldn't celebrate high five each other. If a teacher saw a high five, they would jump in, pull it apart, and both those kids were getting to frickin' detention. And they always said, aggressive behavior will not be tolerated. So that's dumb rule number 1. Then they started a new rule. The only liquids or beverages that students were allowed to bring into school were water and milk. And if it wasn't water or milk, they would take it away. They would check students' lunch bags every single morning as they were walking into school. Coffee from home? Gone. Flavored water? Gone. Gatorade? Gone. Tea? Get the heck out of here. One student had laryngitis and his throat was hurting him bad. The doctor said he could bring tea with hot honey to school. He even had a note. But the school took that note, ripped it, and dumped that tea out. You know the rules. I hate my life. And this was a kindergarten through 12 school. And these rules applied to everybody. The school also served the same lunch every day. 3 chicken nuggets and 3 carrots. And kids weren't allowed to bring anything else. Nobody knew what the point of this was. But what I do know is that sounds like the worst school ever. This kid's family owned a carpet store, which meant their garage was full of carpet samples. Little squares that are all different colors and different textures. Little mini carpets. And now most people would have looked at these and saw worthless pieces of carpet, but he did not ignore it. He saw a business opportunity. So one Monday, he brings a stack of these carpet samples to school. He takes 2 and sets them on each side of his desk. And that, for that class, was where he put his elbows. Bro, what are those? Oh, these? They're desk carpets. They keep my elbows comfortable. All class period. And that's all he had to say. Immediately, people wanted these little luxurious desk mats. And he just starts charging $5, $2, honestly, whatever people had. Bag of chips? Sure, here's 2 squares. Enjoy your class. After a while of doing this, a bunch of students at that school were using these every single day. The more the demand went up, the more he charged for the nicer quality fabrics. Business was absolutely flippin' booming. In total, he made around $700, and then the school shut him down because that's what schools do. That's how you gotta think, and you gotta respect it. This guy was standing in line at the grocery store. It's a normal day, and right next to him is the priority lane for elderly people and people with disabilities. So there's chairs there. This elderly couple is sitting down waiting to check out. This guy walks up, cuts right in front of him. Excuse me. Hey man, they're already in line. I don't see them standing in line. He's being real smug. And the 2 elderly people are just sitting there very uncomfortable. Well, this guy shuts up, but he's fuming. So he looks in the guy's cart. It's a full camping setup. He must be going to camping like right now. Sleeping bag, marshmallows, instant noodles, portable stove, bacon, and 1 single can of butane gas. Well, the guy's on the phone. He's loud, completely distracted. So this guy reaches into his cart and takes the butane gas, puts it in his own cart. The dude pays for his groceries, leaves. The elderly couple finally checks out, and this guy goes home. But he's sitting there, laughing to himself, because somewhere out there a man pulled into a campsite, got unpacked, and was getting ready to make dinner, but couldn't find the gas anywhere, which would cause him to take a very lengthy drive back to the store. That is awesome. She was holding up a stapler like it was a weapon. This is not a toy. Okay? Then she passes it around the class so that everyone can hold it and look at it for some reason. Now, this is the first day of first grade, and these kids are looking at this staple like it's gonna frickin' explode. Oh. One kid's cradling it like a baby. Good. Then it gets to him, and without hesitation, he takes that stapler and staples the palm of his hand. The room goes completely silent. Why did you do that? The whole reason the teacher did this was that the students can familiarize themselves with the stapler and not hurt themselves. But this kid said screw it, and now he's in pain. They rush him to the nurse, he gets a staple taken out of his hand, and the funny part is, he did the exact same thing the next week. Some people never learn. At this school during lunch, milk cartons were free, and they were all just sitting on this table. So one day, these 3 fifth graders, they stockpiled 20 milk cartons, shoving them in their backpacks, in their pockets, up their sleeve, and they take them out to recess. They walk over to the brick wall on the side of the building, and they just start chucking the milk cartons against the wall. Yeah, milk! Milk! The milk cartons are exploding, milk is spraying everywhere, a crowd gathers. Kids are cheering, they're watching this like it's a frickin' sporting event. Well, that's when somebody says, "Yo, the principal, he's coming!" Oh crap. The 3 milk chuckers put their hoods up and they just disappear into the crowd. The vice gets there. Alright, who did this? And it was instant snitching, names and details. The principal immediately starts searching for these kids. And there were close calls, but these guys were really sneaky. Hiding against benches, behind trees, in the slide. Somehow, they never get caught, and the rest of the day is a frickin' mission. At lunch, the principal and the vice principal are posted at the table that these kids usually sit at. Oh crap, he's right there. Let's eat in the band room. Milk! That entire day they managed to escape the wrath of the principal. And when school was over, they went home. But the craziest part is, some random kid cleaned up the milk wall by himself, just because he wanted to. When the principal went out and asked him why he was doing this, "Why are you doing this?" "Because it's the right thing to do." That's legendary. This bully got smoked. So there's this kid named Mateo. He's super nice, he's quiet, and he always walks around in these old beat up New Balance shoes. And then there's Jackson, super loudmouth, and he wears these $600 limited edition Nikes that everyone compliments. "Hey yo, check the drip. Nice shoes, Jackson." Thanks. Now normally Mateo ignores Jackson because Jackson's constantly making fun of Mateo's shoes. But one day in gym, Mateo had enough. Jackson was like, "Bro, you're still wearing those nasty ass crusty shoes? You're probably super poor, you freaking idiot." Everyone laughs. Mateo doesn't. Because here's the secret. Mateo is a walking sneaker encyclopedia. He can spot a pair of fake sneakers from a mile away. And nobody knew this about him. And Jackson, those $600 shoes, Mateo's known for months that those are fake. And he's kept quiet because he's a nice guy. Until now. When the class is doing laps around the gym, Mateo sneaks out and heads to the locker room. He opens Jackson's locker because, of course, he never locks it. And he walks out to the gym floor holding the shoes like evidence. "Everybody, yo, dude, those are my shoes. Since y'all want to talk about my shoes, let's talk about Jackson's shoes." He pulls out his phone and he begins comparing pictures of fake shoes to the ones that Jackson has, and they line up. So this is a fake. Look at Jackson's. See that stitching? That's fake. Look at the logo. It's completely off. It's in the wrong font. Look at the sole of the shoe. Completely discolored. These are only worth $25. Everyone's like, "What? Dude? So you're a frickin' fraud then, huh, Jackson?" "No, I mean, yes. I mean, no." Bro, you can't clown people for their shoes when you're wearing frickin' replicas. I paid more for my New Balances than you did for those fakes. And from then on, nobody made fun of Mateo's shoes ever again. Man, yeah, legend. If you talk, I'm writing your name down, and you sit alone tomorrow. Understand? At this one small town school, the lunchroom rule was brutal. No talking at all. If you talked, your name went on the small board, and you had to sit alone by yourself at lunch the next day. Well, there was this one menace of a kid named Owen, and Owen was trying to cause some trouble. Watch this. He decided to drop a bunch of money in front of this one kid sitting down eating his lunch. The kid goes, "Oh, hey, is this yours?" Name on the board, alone tomorrow. This kid's a menace. He never says a word, but every single lunch period, he's trying to trap kids into talking. And people are falling into this trap. He's flicking food at people, accidentally bumping trays onto the ground, straight up kicking kids in the shin. What the? And the teachers think Owen's a saint. Every time they look over, he's just sitting there, arms crossed, smirking. By the end of the month, the quiet lunch board is full every single day, with kids spread apart all over the cafeteria because they were sitting alone, except for Owen. Eventually, the school's like, that's it. This is obviously not working, so we're getting rid of this rule. And the rule was gone. And it was all because of Owen. What a frickin' rascal. So it was senior prank season, and this one might have been the most beautiful senior prank this school has ever seen. It's the last week of school, and the seniors show up. They've got a ladder, a few backpacks, and they're carrying bags upon bags of something. How much you get? 30 pounds. You're kidding. Nope. 30 pounds of confetti. They sneak into the assembly hall where the school organ is. Now the school was about to have an assembly, and for some reason at every single assembly, the music teacher plays the organ. Now it's a giant old organ with these large pipes, and these pipes stretch up to the ceiling. With the ladder set up, they climb up, and they start pouring confetti straight down each of the organ's pipes. And not just a little confetti, pounds of it, until pretty much every pipe is stuffed. Well, only one teacher is in on it, and that's the music teacher. He gave them the green light because that old organ was being thrown out anyway. But nobody else knows about this, okay? So, 2 hours later, the whole school is crammed in for this assembly. The principal gives his speech, and then the organist starts playing. Whoosh! A cloud of confetti blasts into the air like fireworks while this beautiful organ music is playing. With each note, another explosion of confetti goes off. And now it's like a blizzard. Students are cheering. They're trying to catch it. It's beautiful! But the teachers are really confused. Oh my god, what's happening? What's happening? The principal's standing there looking around like the ceiling just collapsed. Meanwhile, the music teacher is just calmly playing the organ while this crazy storm is happening. It's a beautiful sight. By the end, the floor is covered in confetti, the seats are all buried, and the seniors are just looking around like, wow, we did that. And that was it. That organ never played another note, but that prank went down in school history. This school sold popcorn every Friday. Plain, no butter, no seasoning, just small, sad bags for $1. Well, one day, this kid Tyler shows up with a frickin' plan. He brings a small lunchbox to lunch, and inside, dozens of mini popcorn seasoning shakers. Ranch, nacho cheese, cinnamon sugar, literally anything. Hey, yo, can I use that, man? Totally, homie. $0.25 per shake. Now, at first, people thought this was kind of ridiculous. $0.25 for one shake of popcorn seasoning? But once people started trying it, it was game frickin' over. He would stand on top of the lunch tables, shaking seasonings into people's popcorn bags while kids are sliding and throwing him quarters. It was kind of bussin'. And Tyler wouldn't just stop there. If somebody was broke, he would say, I season it for you now, you bring me $0.25 tomorrow. Or else, I'm writing your name down. I don't forget. By the end of the month, all the popcorn was seasoned to perfection thanks to Tyler. One day, Tyler is counting out $20 in quarters when the principal comes up to him and says, we do not run seasoning businesses in this lunchroom. You're done. And he was shut down. You gotta respect the hustle, though. The first week of school, the vending machines in the hallway were out of order, but one student realized that they weren't broken. The school just wasn't letting anybody use them. Sorry kids, they're fixing them next month. No snacks. No snacks? Oh man. But one day, this junior named Derek saw one of the janitors unlock the machine with this tiny round key. Well, he recognized this silver key. It was the same kind of key his dad used for his padlocks at work. Well, that night, Derek dug through the junk drawers at his house, looking for these keys, and he found about 5 of them. Yes. Yes! The next day, during a passing period, he went to the vending machines. He put the first key in, and it unlocked. Apparently, it was the most basic of these keys, and it worked. He opened it up just enough to grab one snack and put it in his backpack. Well, this gave him a brilliant idea. By the end of the week, he had gone into that vending machine multiple times and only took out the most popular, most tasty snacks. And because these vending machines had been broken for so long, nobody really noticed, and there weren't any cameras in the hallway. Well, he would take these popular snacks and he would sell them for double the price of what the vending machine would have sold them for. Yo, bro, you always have the best snacks. Where do you get them? Don't worry about it, Chief. Don't worry about it. By the time the school fixed the vending machines, Derek had made a good chunk of change, and nobody ever realized that those snacks were taken. Now that is crazy, and you gotta respect the hustle. This would happen across the school every single day. Different classrooms, different floors, but every day at exactly 12:17 p.m. Can I use the bathroom? 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 Nothing suspicious. Not really a pattern that these teachers could put together very easily because, like I said, they were each in a different classroom. But here's what nobody knew. At the far end of the school, in the quiet bathroom nobody ever uses, these kids would go and run full-blown underground Beyblade battles. Every day after they released from the classroom, they would sprint to this bathroom. And when they would get there, they would let it frickin' rip. They had a few of those classic plastic Beyblade arenas, and they were just going to town. They would put money on it as well. Come on, I got 20 bucks on this. You're totally gonna lose, bro. Milk. Doesn't that sound frickin' awesome? They had a blast. I would love this. Well, more and more people were kind of told about this, and more students began joining. And eventually it became this kind of thing. They were caught and shut down forever. But nobody forgot about that. The random bathroom Beyblade battles at 12:17 p.m. every day. That's awesome.
When she was in 2nd grade, her older sister got glasses, and instantly she wanted a pair of glasses as well. So she told her parents.
I can't see the board at school.
So they take her to the eye doctor. He does a test, and she's pretending like she can't see. 2 minutes in, he says, yeah, she's lying. She can see fine. But her parents still believed her. And they're like, no, you better give her some glasses. He writes a prescription, and just like that, a week later, her glasses are ready. At first, she loved them, even though she couldn't really see in them because, well, she lied during that test. But she loved the frames, she loved the attention she was getting, but she kept wearing them for years. And her eyes kept adjusting to the prescription, and the prescription kept getting stronger and stronger. We'll flash forward 10 years, and now every day, she wears a pair of the thickest glasses because she actually can barely see without them now. And she's pretty sure it's because back in 2nd grade, she lied when taking the eye test, and she ruined her eyesight forever. Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
There was this kid in middle school who was so fast at taking tests. He would always finish before everybody else. Done. Math test, first one done. History quiz, sped through it. One day it was a Scantron test, and he finishes it in less than 10 minutes. It then gets graded, and the teacher comes over. Hey, you, nobody finishes a 60-question test in under 10 minutes. You cheated. I did not. The class is quiet. The two of them argue for a long time. The principal gets involved, and finally, fine, you know what? You stay after school, we're taking this test. Just you, me, and the principal in the same room. And what she does is she switches the answers on the Scantron, so it's different now. Well, after school, he sits down, he gets a different version of this test, and he goes. In 7 minutes, he's done. Done. Grades it on the spot. Another 100%. But this isn't possible. Mrs. Johnson, I think he's just really smart. You're good to go home, buddy. The teacher doesn't even apologize. But she never accused him of stuff ever again. And even though she saw it with her own eyes, for the rest of the year, she still never fully trusted him. He's just a genius. This kid didn't talk until he was 5. And when he finally did start talking, he barely said anything. His vocabulary was only like 20 words, and he only talked when he was spoken to. And everyone already thought he was the weird kid. Well, one day, this kid is sitting outside of his house when his 10-year-old neighbor walks by. And the 10-year-old neighbor is a legit genius. He actually ends up graduating high school at 12 years old. But he walks up to this 5-year-old who barely talks, and he says to him, the answer to every question is observing. First of all, I have no idea what the heck that means, but the kid listened. Oh. He takes it very seriously and very literally. From that day on, every single question he gets asked gets the same answer. Okay, you. What is 2 times 2? Observing. What do you want for dinner, son? Observing. Okay, and how are you feeling today? Observing. At this point, people are freaking out. People made meetings, there was counselors and therapists involved. For almost an entire year, the only thing that this kid would say is observing. Eventually, after a few years of therapy, he began talking like a normal person. But hey, that's kind of hilarious. This 2nd grader decides, I want to do something nice for my teacher. So one morning before school, she's outside and she picks a few apple blossoms. Enough to hold in one hand, and she was going to give it to her teacher. She's going to love this. She carries them all the way to school. And when it's time, she walks up to her teacher's desk. I got these for you. Now you would think the teacher would be like, oh my goodness, thank you. But where'd you get these? From a tree? Well, that's when the teacher snaps. You pulled these from somebody's tree in their yard
You stole them.
No, I didn't.
No, I don't want to hear a single word from you. I'm tearing these flowers up. I'm throwing them away. You need to learn about rules, young lady. This is disgraceful. Sit down.
Absolutely heartbreaking. This girl just wanted to do something nice and the teacher flipped out.
Later that day during recess, her older sibling finds her. She was crying alone.
Oh my God, what happened?
She explains the situation. Well, he was ticked off. He storms inside and he yells at that teacher.
What'd you say to my sister? She was trying to do something nice for you today. You know where she got those flowers? From our backyard.
Yeah, the flowers were their family's. She didn't steal them from anybody. The older brother then got a detention for yelling at a teacher, but he doesn't care because the way that teacher treated his little sister was unacceptable. That's a good brother. That's a bad teacher.
How much do you love your cat? This guy lived with his girlfriend, and he has a cat he's had most of his life. This is his cat. She's 21 years old.
Damn.
Well, a couple of days ago, his girlfriend saw that Shuri made a mess in the litter box. Ugh. Oh my God, Steven, come here. Yeah, what's up? Look what your old ass cat did. It's just some litter on the ground. What's the matter? It's disgusting. Ugh. I can't wait till she's dead. He got so mad. He loved his cat. That night, when his girlfriend was at work, he packed up all of his stuff, put his cat in his carrier, and left. I'm not sure what happened after that, but what would you do in that scenario?
This woman's daughter begged to learn piano, like for weeks. So finally her mom says, okay, but I'm not buying you a real piano, it's a keyboard. Doesn't matter, it's fine, her daughter's still super hyped. So they go to Target and her mom buys her this keyboard. But there's a catch. Okay, so you want piano lessons, right? Well, here is what we're gonna do. 6 months minimum, no quitting early, and you practice 20 minutes a day. And the kid agrees. At first, it's fine. She's learning songs. She's really enjoying this. Then week 8 hits. She starts not practicing. She starts skipping. One day here, one day there. You know, she's getting more homework, school's stressful, she can't do it all. And her mom reminds her, listen, every day you don't practice, you owe me those minutes. You will make them up. Then comes the school trip. 3 days, 2 nights, her entire grade's going. She's been excited about this for months. And the mom goes, hey, so I know your trip is coming up this weekend, but you've missed 11 practice days on the piano. So before you go, you need to make up 11 hours of piano practice. The kid's like, wait, what? Yeah, if you do not make up the 11 hours, you are not going on that trip. So she has to make up 11 hours of piano practice. But the thing is, the trip is like 4 days away. That's a lot of piano practice. The dad tries to step in. Hey, we already paid for the trip. This is kind of ridiculous, don't you think? Kevin, I am teaching our daughter a lesson. If you don't want to support me on this, then get out. Well, the daughter tries to make up those 11 hours, but with homework and sleep, she can't do it. And her mom forces her to stay home from the trip. That is not okay.
তুমি অনেক ভালো একটা মাইয়া তোমার অনেক ভালো হইবে
আমার মা হাসপাতালে ভর্তি ডাক্তার কইছে 2 ব্যাগ রক্ত আর 1 লাখ টাকা যদি আজকে
জন্য পাগল আর আপনি তানিয়ার জন্য পাগল
আরে জুলি এইটারে কয় ভালোবাসা আরিয়া তোমার হাতের রান্না
তোমার বড় ভাইয়ের ভালো না থাকলে এখান থেকে চলে যেতে বলো
আরে জুলি তুমি আবার কি রাইখা কি
প্রেমে ফেলতে পারো তাহলে আমি নিজে দাঁড়িয়ে থেকে তোমার আর তানিয়ার বিয়ে দেব
সারাদিন ধরে ভিক্ষা করছে আমাদের 1 লাখ টাকা আর 2 ব্যাগ রক্ত লাগবে কি করবো বলো আমি তো আর প্রফেশনাল রিক্সা চালক না প্রেমিক রিক্সা চালক আমার তাহলে ক কি লিখছস কয় লাইন লিখছস ক
সে কি তোরে খুব ডিস্টার্ব করতো আরে না আরে শোন না একবার কি
আচ্ছা
ভাই আমাকে আপনার সাথে লাগা যান
কাম তোরা বুঝছি তো আমি আজকে আমার বিজয়ের দিন এখানে 100 কবিতা আছে সার্ভিসটা তো একটু আলাদা থাকবে তাই না
দেখেন আমি কলেজে যাব আমার দেরি হয়ে যাচ্ছে এসব নাটক দেখা
নাইছে আর কি ওই যে তানিয়া তো পড়াশোনা করে সন্ধ্যার সময় যদি একটু খায় মাথাটা ঠান্ডা এই এগুলা কি এই কার্ডের ভিতরে আমার মেয়ের নাম লেখা কেন এই বাইরে মনে কর পিক করতে বুঝছো ওই যে পড়ছে আছে বলছে
আসতে বলবেন না, সেটা আমার একটু জরুরি কথা আছে।
বাবা
ভাই
আমি তো এলাকা ছাড়ার আগে
তুমি একটা গিরাট টুকরা ছেলে, যেই ছেলে
তানিয়া আমার পিস্তলটা নিয়ে আয় তো। টাকা কি দুধটা রাইখে গেলাম।
মাত্র সে ফেসবুকে স্ট্যাটাস দিয়েছে সে একটি অনাথ বাচ্চাকে
কত স্যাক্রিফাইস করছি, এলাকার বড় ভাই থেকে রিক্সা চালক হয়ে গেলাম, আর সেইটাই করবো। যে গরম না, আর এই বড় ভাই তোর মায়ের চিকিৎসার দায়িত্ব নিছে। সেলিম ভাই ভালোবাসার লেগে জেল খাটছে।
ভাই আপনি যত কথাই, এই বাড়িতে ওই বদমাইশটার কথা একবারও ভুলে উচ্চারণ করবা না।
ভাই মিনিমাম আপনি 17 লাইনের একটা কবিতা লেখেন। 17 লাইনের কবিতা
কিন্তু ছাপাই না, সব মাথার ভিতরে থাকে। যখন পড়তে ইচ্ছা করে মাথা, আমি জানো ওরে বাপ করে দেব। আর আমি কি কমো জানো, তবু তানিয়া ভালো কেমনে বেটা, কস না কেন, বেটা
এটা পড়ে আপনার প্রেমে পুরো রূপ করে পড়ে যাবো।
আর তো
আপনি পারবেন ভাই, আপনি পারবেন।
ও 700 লাইন লিখবো, আর বাদ বাকি 300 লাইন আমি লেখা বললাম।
একটু নামিয়ে দাও, মানে ও ছাড়া পাক না পাক তাতে আমাদের কি?
ভিতরটা শিমুল তুলার মতো নরম হয়ে ছিল, যাওয়ার সাথে সাথে একটা
তুমি এতদিন যা করেছো তাতে আমার একটুও মন গলেনি, আর তোমাকে ভালোবাসার কোনো কারণও।
ও আপনি সে বড় ভাই? ভাই আপনার নাম তো আমি বহুত শুনছি, কিন্তু আমার
বুঝছস?
ভাই আমি এটাই বুঝলাম না, আপনি এই মাইয়া তানিয়ার মধ্যে কি পাইছেন? এলাকার সব মাইয়া আপনি।
মানুষ মাত্রই ভুল করে, তাতে কি?
ভাই এমন যে করব,
দাঁড়া, মাথার ভিতর অলরেডি একদম। তানিয়ার বাপরে আমি চ্যালেঞ্জ করছি, 7 দিনের মধ্যে তানিয়া আমারে, আমি প্রেমে ভালাবো কেমনে বেটা, কস না কেন, বেটা।
ভাই কি কমু কোন, মানে হ্যারে বাড়িতে কেমনে বাইক করবে এটা তো জানি না। এর মধ্যে আপনি কবিতা দিয়ে দিচ্ছেন, আমি তো
কোন হারামজাদা আমার মায়েরা ডিস্টার্ব করে?
খালু আপনি শুধু শুধু রাগ করছেন।
আমি হইতেছি রিক্সা, তুমি হইতেছে এসি বাস।
মামা ভাড়া নিত।
আপনার ছেলের সাথে আমি আমার মেয়েকে বিয়ে দিব। ঠিক আছে ভাই স্যার।
ফুটে যাব না, মানে এত হ্যান্ডসাম ফ্রেন্ডলি সুন্দর
আর জিত চিরদিন থাকবে। একটা এতিম ছেলের জন্য আজকে আমি,
আমার মতো একটা মানুষকে ভালোবাসা যায়।
সত্যি বলতেছো তানিয়া?
সেলিম,
আবার আসবো স্যার। আগে আপনার বাসায় আসতে গেলে পা কাঁপতো, এখন আর পা কাঁপ না।